Men fall in love by watching, women by listening. There is another quote that goes, "The tongue is sharper than a sword." Very often, it can be more human to literally kill the person than to say certain things and leave him to live with feelings simulated by them. By turning this powerful weapon in another way, it simply means that all doors are open to you if you communicate properly. You can get anything you want. If you know how to ask, you can turn anything in your favor. If you smartly strategize with your words, you can solve problems with anybody. If you know how to communicate this, I highly recommend Never Split the Difference by Chris Voss for improving your communication skills, as it will guide you through the art of communication with extraordinary precision, and we'll cover some of its key points here. But since talking to a woman is more like a game of chess, stay until the end because I'll reveal 11 key rules that leave her no room to choose, overthink, or hesitate about you. Rule number 1. Less talking, more listening. The massive misconception lies in thinking that one who speaks controls the situation. Think about this. While you speak, the other side's just getting a weapon, resources, and information that could be used against you or just be used in their favor. This is reflected in the principle that while someone is speaking, you are not thinking about what you'll say next. No one respects the person who interrupts right after someone stops speaking. Rather, stay mysterious, focus on what is coming out of your mouth, gathering the information that will allow you to strategize, move, and steer conversation and things in your favor. Along with exerting mystery, you'll reflect the presence of a person who doesn't waste words pointlessly, and both things are extremely attractive to women. Rule number 2. Less speaking, more questioning. In order to get information, you should look for information. The golden principle for communication is 20% speaking and 80% listening. When you decide to speak, apply the same ratio but 20% talking and 80% questioning. Another misconception, especially in the game of seduction, is believing that you have to be interesting, but you leave a much stronger impression by showing yourself as interested. In a typical psychotherapy session, you'll notice the psychologist spends much more time asking questions. By not crossing the line of inferiority with your curiosity, you make people feel comfortable around you, while the effect of mystery and amount of information increases. Rule number 3. Think before you speak. There are two types of people who think and move and people who follow. The most significant habit that separates silver-tongued people from other autopilot mortals isn't the number of read books or debates they engaged in, but rather giving themselves time to think before they speak. No matter how much you need, over time these periods will become shorter as your mind becomes sharper. In the end, it's better to say nothing than to say something foolish. Speak only when your words are stronger than your silence. Ruthless for someone, but respectful for everyone. And for a woman, irresistible. Rule number 4. Pick your words. Hand in hand with the previous point, when you give yourself time to think, you'll have time to pick your words. But not only that, you'll also become better at placing them correctly and strategizing with them, as well as with your voice and energy, which will gain an incredibly powerful dimension. Even hearing about this, you see how far of that is an average person. And it's not hard to realize why there are many men incapable of getting more than a few words from a woman, let alone a phone number. Rule number 5. Conciseness. No one respects a person who wastes its time. On the other hand, everyone respects and admires the person who is capable of saying much with few words. For a woman, this is an extremely resistible skill because it reflects and demonstrates incredible intelligence. Also, as a man, your time is very important. Mastering the articulation of thoughts will not only affect your attractiveness, but will also drastically increase your power and influence. You see how rare it is when a person thinks before he speaks and chooses his words right, so you can imagine how powerful it is when you level up this. The very first step is obviously to pause before you decide to speak, as this will allow you to think, pick, place, and hit. Following that, the crucial part in communication with a woman is knowing what not to say. Rule number 6. No oversharing information. In line with the previous, but sometimes the case will require you to use more words. Even then, keep it as brief as possible, as you don't have time for small talks and meaningless conversations. If you have, forget about women's respect, as you don't respect yourself, your time and your life in the first place. Small talk has its time and place. That means they have their time and place. And this is not always, and this is not often. You should not be overly cold, but even more, you shouldn't be a clown. Never use 20 words if you can explain everything with 5. Rule number 7. No complaining. No one cares for you, nor is anyone responsible for your problems. Understand, everybody has their own problems, and by speaking about them, you waste the energy and time which you could put into overcoming them in the first place. And secondly, you are doing nothing other than making yourself incompetent and weak. Another thing you have to understand is, you don't need anybody's approval, no matter what. Nobody needs to understand you, and by complaining and seeking approval or trying to explain your side of things, the only thing you accomplish is showing that you are insecure and needy, which are deadly traits for attractiveness. Never complain to anybody, especially not to a woman. You are always in charge. Rule number 8. No sugarcoating. You are unique, or you are a copycat. You know who women are more attracted to, even you know who do you respect more. Keeping things as they are is irresistible to women, as it undeniably shows that you are not afraid of the consequences and not afraid to lose her, but rather someone who is self-assured and someone who isn't desperately craving approval or dependent on the opinions of others, which is extremely rare nowadays. And what is rare is chaste. Rule number 9. Destroy her ego. Women want a superior man than her, well known but not enough understood. In every aspect, superior, in every situation, one step ahead, in every case, in charge. There is a lot to say about destroying women's ego, but remember that while you are showing her that you are superior and extremely superior by destroying her ego, she is yours, because it's in her nature, and if she is normal, you won't have to do this many times. Since the world we live in is not normal, and men and women are disconnected from their nature, it is likely you will need to do this countless times. But for that case, I advise you to do this, and go your way. She will be extremely driven, as the primal parts of human nature can never change, but you have more important things to do than to constantly show to women that you are the leader. Rule number 10. Positive vibe. From the previous points, you've probably developed a brutally honest perspective on things, but this brutal approach should only apply to those areas that are crucial for you as a man. Absolutely not to women. A woman wants to laugh, feel safe, comfortable, and at ease. Balancing a tough mindset with maintaining a positive and relaxed dynamic isn't difficult. When you take control of every aspect of your life, wit, ease, and confidence will naturally follow in your interaction with women. But achieving this requires a harsher approach to everything else, such as discipline, self-improvement, and personal growth. Rule number 11. Knowing how to end. Absolutely important as knowing how to approach the woman. Understand that not every interaction needs to turn into a long conversation, and always trust your instincts. If you're a man who is in tune with his natural instincts, you'll clearly sense when it's time to end the conversation and leave her imagining you, just as clearly as you'll know when to continue, initiate, or take things to a more serious level. At the end, if you are the one who started the conversation, you are the one who should end it. Subscribe to the channel in order to rise as a man, learn about female nature and how to drive them insanely.